Whoa. I think I just figured something out, Beavis.
What?
This sucks.
Yeah, it really sucks.
This sucks more than anything that has ever sucked before.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. I imagine some viewers have been waiting for this video. I've been rather skeptical, outspoken of my skepticism of X-Men's HELLFIRE GALA, the big 12-issue crossover event, including a planet-sized X-Men. And there are going to be some big things we know that are going to happen. Most of them have been spoiled. We know that the new X-Men team, and we know the roster that's going to be introduced. Magneto's going to kill somebody, and he's going to go on trial for it. Must be a human, because that breaks one of the Krakoan laws. And I think we know Apocalypse is going to be returning with some of the mutants that were originally from Arakko. I guess they're in Ameth now, because Arakko's on Earth, but doesn't want to reunite with Krakoa, even though that was like the purpose of the last event. Go figure, they haven't even touched on that. So something is going to go in here. I had hoped that HELLFIRE GALA was like a red herring. We're telling you it's a dinner party, but there's more going on here. There's going to be some crazy stuff. And apparently, according to the X-Men office, Marauders 21, the very first issue of the HELLFIRE GALA, is supposed to be important. Something very important is supposed to happen. When we see the little lineup of what's coming up, there are 4 red band issues. Marauders 21, X-Men 21, Planet-Size X-Men #1, Sword #6. X-Men 21 is the introduction of the new X-Men team. Planet-Size X-Men, I imagine, is the murder by Magneto. I thought maybe Apocalypse returning would be the other big event that we know of, possibly in Sword 6. But I don't understand why they would do that in a Sword book. That's more of like a cosmic, like mutant story going on. Maybe there's another big thing that they haven't spoiled. But Marauders 1 is clearly a red band issue. Remember in House of X Powers of 10, when there's a red band issue, that's when we learned that Moira had resurrection powers. We also learned that's when the mutants had resurrection protocols and all these things were happening. Every time there was a red band issue, and I think there were 3 in that 12-issue series, something enormous was revealed. So something enormous is going to be revealed here. At least that's what the X-Men office is telling you. But I'm here to tell you, nothing enormous is revealed. It's hinted at that something might happen. But unfortunately, this is as bad as I expected, or probably even worse, because it literally is a dinner party. It's people hosting a dinner party with some guests that become a little bit unruly here and there. I guess there's some surprise appearances. And that's about what this thing is. I think I'm being overly generous giving Marauders 21 and X-Force 20 2-star ratings on this, if I'm being completely honest. I should probably... 1.5 stars is rough. It's hard to give a comic book a review that low. But I don't know. These probably deserve that. These are really bad comics. They're definitely not worth your time. Definitely not worth reading. There are some things introduced in X-Force 20. They made me want to vomit because it's a bunch of stuff that I've already hated in the past. Apparently it's coming back. Hellions 12, shockingly, really, really entertaining. I don't know what Zeb Wells is doing, but nothing happens that's important to Hellions. Well, a couple of things, I guess. Very minor parts of the story. But it's really, really entertaining, and it really accentuates the work that Zeb Wells has been doing on the series. If you like Hellions, definitely read that comic book because it's really funny. But everything else in here, or at least the first 2 issues, Marauders, X-Force, are really bad. I'm like really, really bad. Way more superfluous than I could have ever imagined. I knew there was a good chance that this was going to be a waste of time. I didn't think it would go quite this far, especially with having a red band issue here on the first week. An auspicious debut, let's put it that way. HELLFIRE GALA. I'll be shocked if we ever get one of these again. Like, it's supposed to be a yearly event that happens. I'll be shocked if we ever get this again. You're really tainting the waters here, X-Force or X-Men office. You are really trying people's patience. Now, some people may enjoy this because of the costumes or whatever, but if you came here for the story, Nah, not very good. So let's get into the issues. Let's talk about this stuff. So Marauders #1 is essentially Emma Frost hosting a dinner party. Shocking. That's what they told us the event was. That's what this issue is. And it's all these people arriving. And this one's written by Jerry Duggan, illustrated by, I believe it's Mateo Lally. The Avengers are arriving. The Fantastic Four are arriving. Tony Stark, shows up. Doctor Doom. There are things that don't make sense about the people showing up here and like how they're equipped. Why anybody would send any type of diplomat or any person with any type of important information, national secrets, I don't know, ways to access Avenger Mountain, stuff like that, into this environment with a bunch of telepaths that can like read minds is beyond me. Of course, Tony Stark shows up and he says that he's got psionic blockers. Why are you reminding everyone that everyone should have psionic blockers? That no country would ever send anyone important into an environment like this? You're just outing yourself in the enormous plot holes and what doesn't make sense about your story. It's bad writing. It's bad storycraft. You're telling people everything wrong and why none of this makes sense. Nobody would ever send anyone as a delegate into this that had important information without psionic blockers like Tony Stark. Tony Stark would not let Captain America arrive here. And it's not implied that anyone else at this party has them other than Tony. In fact, I believe it's heavily implied that they're reading Captain America's mind, if I remember correctly. Yes, I do remember correctly because Emma Frost is admiring Steve Rogers, thinking, he's pretty hot. And her friend's like, oh, listen, he drinks milk. He's too wholesome. And then she realizes that she reminds Steve of his mother because she's reading his mind. Is Steve Rogers a moron? Are the Avengers morons? I guess that's what Jerry Duggan's trying to tell us in the entire X-Men office. Also, there's a itinerary of events that are going to happen at this party, and one of them's like a telepathic concert. Certainly, Doctor Doom has some type of psionic blockers. He's not being taken over, but every other guest has their mind taken over for this telepathic concert. With, I think it's the Cuckoos and Jean Grey are like singing in their minds and making them think that they can play this instrument. And they have a special instrument, Krakoa, that only grows on their island. And even, why make Ben Grimm look this stupid? The Thing does not get enough shine these days, and you just make him look absolutely dumb. Telepathic concert. Like, that's multiple pages in this comic book story. That's Jerry Duggan in a nutshell. That is Hellfire Gala in a nutshell. It is so stupid. The premise behind it is stupid. The fact that any of these people would show up here without equipment to protect them and their minds and their secrets, or from being influenced by Charles Xavier and Emma Frost and all these other, or Jean Grey and all the other mutants that have powers to do so. Also, Doom being here seems pretty strange. As far as I know, Latveria wants nothing to do with Krakoa, does not want diplomatic relations, does not want any access to their flowers that they're offering, even with all their amazing powers. Yet he just decides to show up here anyway, even though, as far as I can tell, Latveria wants to be like an isolationist nation. Why would he show up to this thing? Just to make an appearance and get in an outfit for a dinner party? Makes no sense. Let's get back. Let's keep going for Marauders. There are a couple things going on. We do see some delegates from the Shi'ar Empire, and they're talking about, hey, we've got the goods in the ship like we talked about. And Emma has no idea what they're talking about. She's like, what's going on here? And he goes, they're waiting in the ship, for you to come get them. She brings her brother Christian over and sends him on it. We do find out in X-Force that there's a shipment of logic diamonds that they brought, that apparently they agreed to give to Emma Frost, but she has no recollection of it. And that is the big, we did get that reveal in another comic book, so there is some synergy in here. There's also multiple scenes that are played more than once that they're different. Whatever. And then there's a meeting between the Hellfire Inner Circle, and it's Emma Frost and Sebastian Shaw and Kitty Pryde and all them. And she says, my hope is that after tonight, there will be no need for a black market for our medicines. So she's planning something. There's something that she's planning to do at this Hellfire Gala that is going to convince, I guess, the delegates to openly, accept these drugs or something. Something's going to happen. Is this the big thing that makes it a red band issue? I don't know, because it jumps time, and then all of a sudden everyone's leaving and something has happened. And once again, they remind us how stupid the premise is. We have one ambassador saying, if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, and then he's told by the Secret Service, the president wants to speak with you, Mr. Ambassador. After this, he says, I need somewhere to think. I've got way too many telepaths in my head. He knew that was happening the whole time. Why would you send somebody like this with direct ties to the president in to be manipulated or influenced or invaded by telepaths on Krakoa? And they've all got this red flower that allowed them to go through the portals, which was, it's going to be some type of tracking device or something. Just ridiculous. And something happened. Everyone leaves disturbed. That, I guess, is why it's a red band issue. But they don't show you what it is. They don't tell you what it is. And it's not even hinted at in the other two issues. Is that really worth a red band issue? Is that really worth telling people something important is going to happen? Is the beginning of the Hellfire Gala, was that the reason it was a red band issue? Because we're reminded after this that there's been a Hellfire Gala before under Chris Claremont back in the day. So it's not even the first one. Just terrible. This is one of the worst, most boring, futile exercises in storytelling I've read in a comic in a while. It's not as bad as X-Corp, but it's close. It's damn close. This is bad. Jerry Duggan shit the bed big time in Marauders number 21. And the X-Men office shit the bed when they labeled this a red band issue. Nothing happens. It's Emma Frost hosting a dinner party. Mesmerizing, right? Like, oh my goodness. Let's get into X-Force. Ben Percy's X-Force has been trending down. The artist of late has been Gary Brown. Putrid. I couldn't even read the last issue. It was so bad to look at. But we do get Joshua Cassara back on art this issue. But this isn't any better than the Marauders 21. At least they didn't brand it as a red band issue, as if something was important happening. We do get the reveal about the Logic Diamonds here. I don't know. Is Ben Percy coasting? Is he ready? Is his time in the X office over? Is he biding his time, planning an exit strategy? It's what it feels like, because there's been nothing inspired for a while now in X-Force, and Wolverine's trending downhill as well. Supposedly, I think that's his favorite character. But let's get into this and why it sucks so bad. There is an interesting... I don't know why this is happening. We've seen events told multiple times with new perspectives, like the origin of Arakko and the sealing at Krakoa and all that stuff. And that was, to facilitate the big reveal of the Sword Bearers Arakko and Destiny. It was actually Apocalypse's wife and all that stuff. Here we see the Tony Stark entrance once again with Quentin Quire. And this time he's a complete D-bag, but in the first one he's not. The wording's kind of changed, and the tone of their interaction is completely changed. Is this supposed to be from Quentin Quire's perspective? I don't remember ever reading X-Force and going, oh, this is the Quentin Quire comic book. I don't get what they're trying to do here. Whatever. Let's get into the bad part. You remember Terra Verde? Do you remember the plant monsters? I've been trying to forget it for a while now. Well, X-Force 9 and 10, the Terra Verde saga, where we saw Beast do something at the end that was strange, and it was like, he probably shouldn't have done that. That seems not only out of character, but just stupid based on what we've read in the story. Doesn't make sense that he would want to mess with these plant monsters. Well, the delegation from Terra Verde arrives, and as soon as you see him, you see plants kind of coming out the side of their eyeballs, and Beast is orchestrating events and getting them access, and he's done something stupid. This doesn't make sense as well. You have too many telepaths. They would all know what Beast's plans were and what he was doing. Apparently, the plan is that he is going to use these Terra Verde diplomats, and when they shake hands, they're going to drop plants on people so they could I don't know, listen to them as like a surveillance network, like organic surveillance equipment. Doesn't that sound exciting? Kind of sounds stupid. But we do get more confirmation that Charles Xavier is an enormous villain. There's a part after he started doing all this where Beast and Charles were having a conversation telepathically, of course. And Charles is asking him, what are you up to? Like, he senses what he's doing with the diplomats as they're shaking hands and we're seeing them drop plants on people. And Beast says, Charles, you explicitly told me you were better off not knowing. And he says, I didn't I? I haven't let you down, have I? No, not yet. Then he goes on his way. He knows what Beast is doing. He can read his mind. He literally backs up his mind every single week. Like he backs up every single person on Krakoa every single week, so he knows everyone's deepest, darkest secrets and desires. Yet he's letting them do this, infiltrate this stupid gathering to unleash these plant monsters on people. As soon as Emma Frost gets wind of it, she goes to shut it down using Sage, and she tries to shut it down, and you see something weird has happened, and these guys are malfunctioning, and the one guy's head poofs up into a big plant, and Sage is like, that's impossible. And you don't understand. The plants have been hacked. The stupid plant monsters from Terra Verde that Beast has, for no reason, like, you can't, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. While he would even try and mess with any of this stuff, he should have just destroyed it. It's gone haywire and it's been hacked. Who hacked it? Who knows? Who cares? It's so stupid. I'm so tired of plant monsters. And I think Ben Percy is too. Like, you can feel there's nothing. Like, this feels like Jonathan Hickman phoning it in, like, for the last year, except for those few issues with like the Children of the Vault Nimrod stuff that just happened recently. This is phoning it in. You can tell he's tired of this. This is awful. And this is X-Force. It's just gone downhill so fast. Originally, it was like the one Dawn of X series that was really consistently entertaining and high quality. We were meeting Zemo and everything, or Xeno. And then as soon as they introduced these plant monsters, it started trending downhill. It kind of came back up, and it's just dying a slow death now. I feel bad for Josh Quasera. He came back to some damaged goods after what Gary Brown has done in the series, and he had literally nothing interesting to work with. What a waste. All right, so let's get to the one saving grace of Hellfire Gala, Hellions. Completely inconsequential if you've been reading the Hellion story. For the most part, what is done here is reinforcing the character work that Zeb Wells has done along the way. It does introduce a couple of things, which we'll talk about. One at the beginning, one at the end. The art by Steven Segovia, fantastic as always. Definitely one of the better illustrated X-Men series out there. In my opinion, it's entertaining. It's got a pretty good story to it. Zeb Wells has his finger on the pulse of these characters. He's developed them into a really nice team book, and I absolutely love it. Now, at the beginning, when we see Quanon, she's in that lovely dress that we all saw. And when John Greycrow sees her, there's a spark in his eye, if you know what I mean. There's a physical attraction to Quanon. Now, I feel like they're introducing this plot point for the first time, but Quanon is a very exceptionally physically attractive character. It was hard. It would be hard to believe that he hadn't noticed that she was attractive until then. So the Hellions are being left at home. It's going to be Mr. Sinister, Quanon, and Havoc are going to the party. Everyone else has been instructed to stay home. They said you're not welcome because you don't play nice with others. Well, they start messing around. John Greycrow's drinking, and he said, "Screw it, we're going to the party." And they arrive, and you can kind of see him show up, and it's really funny. Orphan Maker wants to drink, but Nanny says he's too young and won't let him drink. And they're kind of just going around the party. And they do touch on some more serious notes. Like Alex he goes up to Charles Xavier and he's kind of pleading his case. why won't you bring back Madeline? Why can't you resurrect Madeline? You're resurrecting everybody else. Why can't you even consider it? And then they try to kind of call in like, well, you love her. And then he takes his case over to Magneto, in which case Polaris kind of comes in and I don't know, butts in, takes him to the side and tries to talk about with him. So you can see Madeline Pryor and what's happened to her and the fact that they won't resurrect her is weighing heavily on Alex's mind. He wants to bring her back. You definitely get the feeling that he's lonely. He misses her. And I think this is something that is going to continue to play out through Hellions. I've really enjoyed this plot mark. We also get Wildchild running into like his old girlfriend. And all of a sudden he's kind of tamed, right? It's a nice little tender moment. Like a little bit of humanity in his eyes, because he got altered when he was resurrected because he died in Araco. And he's been, ultra aggressive, talking about his pack or whatnot. And he asked her to dance, and she says she can't, and she kind of runs away. And he's very upset. John Greycrow is kind of egging him on. He's like, you need to go, impress her. And then he goes and visits her, and he sees that she's dating Dakin, and he's like, how dare you challenge me? And he's talking about his pack and all that stuff that I think has been absolutely hilarious since it's been introduced. And they're all just getting sloshed, and Nanny's been drinking the whole time. And as soon as this happens, there's a wrestling fight. She like breaks a bottle, and she's saying, Judgment Day, motherfuckers. And she's going around looking to like stab people and everything. It is just absolutely hilarious. I believe this is when Magic steps in. She like kind of like freezes them all and kicks them out of the party. And then at the very end, we do get a revelation that Mr. Sinister has acquired a red crystal. Not sure where he got it from or how it got to the party, but he does have his hands on it. As far as plot progression or anything to do with what they've been doing with the Hellions, not much happens here. We get the introduction that John Greycrow is attracted to Quanon, which I don't think had happened before, and we get this crystal with Mr. Sinister. Everything else just really backs up the character work that Zeb Wells has done so far, which could be very monotonous and boring, but it is over the top funny. I really enjoyed this. It was really entertaining, especially after reading Marauders and X-Force, which were worth to get through. I actually enjoyed this one. Those are my reviews of Hellfire Gala Week 1. I'm shocked that this is as bad as I anticipated. I imagined, like I mentioned earlier, that this was a red herring, and this was going to be very eventful and a lot of things happening that were super dynamic and like, oh my goodness, all these things that we've been waiting for are finally being addressed. At least the first week, we're 25% of the way through this event, hasn't happened. Marauders was a red band issue. Dick happened. Well, something happened, but it was off panel and only hinted at what it was. Way to get people to buy into this big event. Are people really going to go spend the next $50 so they can find out what may have happened in Marauders? X-Force reintroducing the plant stuff from Terra Verde. Blech. I just wanted to barf on my comic book. Well, actually on my tablet because I have to read everything digitally. Thankfully, Hellions was here. It was a palate cleanser. I got to enjoy at least 15, 20 minutes of my X-Men reading this week. But this is worse than I expected, in all honesty. I thought they would do something. Not a lot going on here. I guess maybe if you really like fashion and that's what you were coming to the party for, maybe it's enjoyable. But I don't like fashion, and I wasn't even looking at that stuff. There's, Emma, I think she was in 3 different outfits. She had a lot of cleavage showing. That's your thing. Maybe, if you like Emma Frost cleavage, maybe this is the event for you. But if you like good X-Men storytelling, just good comic book storytelling, this is a dud right out of the gate. I'm shocked at I'm not shocked. Jordan White's an idiot, but I'm shocked anyone would want to put their name on this as being one of the people that helped create it. It's that bad. You can't be disappointed when you had no expectations. But you definitely can be surprised when you had no expectations going in and it still managed to dive under them. I'm at a loss for words. If you're excited about Hellfire Gala and you're wanting an intriguing, engaging event, I'm sorry. That's not what you're getting. If you're excited about Hellfire Gala for a bunch of costumes and some cameos, I think there were some cameos I noticed Conan O'Brien. I might have seen Eminem, but I don't think that was him. If that was what you're looking for, maybe this was interesting. But man, if you like comic books, this is bad.